Go to the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Sal Pal, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Eagle fans, fuel up for game day at Dunkin'. They got the new Dunkin' where I live. I feel like you. I got my new routine. I cross in. I go through the drive-thru. It's right on my way to work now. Sal, you there? Can you hear me, Sal?
I got you, boss. I got you.
There he is, Sal Paolantonio.
Listen, so here's the deal. I'm on my way to L.A., and I'm on my way to the airport, and I stopped at my Dunkin' Donuts. And, you know, I for a lunch sandwich, I like that English muffin with the veggie egg white.
There you go.
I know, it's not a typical Sal Pal breakfast or lunch, but I was feeling a little la-la land, so I went the veggie egg white omelet sandwich. See what I'm saying?
I've gone down that road a lot when I'm trying to watch my figure. You know what I mean?
Well, I was feeling a little left coast, so I decided to go veggie egg white. And I also know that I had truth be told, I had coffee and donuts from Dunkin' Donuts this morning, so I'm cheating. I got 2 in one day because, you know, you never know what you're going to get out in California. You just don't.
You're heading out to Cali. You got what's that? The Rams out there, right?
It's the Fox America's Game of the Week. It is the Packers at the Rams. It's Rodgers at the Rams. It's the man from Lambeau in La La Land.
I saw Rodgers 9.5. What's it? A 9.5 point underdog this time. Biggest dog he's ever been.
It's insane. That's definitely a backdoor cover, no question.
So London, Sal, people are panicking. Let me start with this. Do you look at this week for Philly as a must-win type of game?
Oh, totally. What's their record? 3-4?
3-4.
If they go to 3-5, to get to 10 wins to win the division, they got to go 7-1, right?
Yeah. Well, we talked.
This is an absolute total must-win. Can't lose the game, and I don't think they're going to lose the game. They just have so much more talent than the Jaguars. The Jaguars are a total mess. Blake Bortles, you know, he's always good for 1 or 2 turnovers a game. The only caveat I have is the Jaguars have done this a lot. This is their 5th straight trip to London, and they've won 3 in a row. And I talked to a bunch of people in the organization this week in Jacksonville about the game. And, you know, they've done a really good job of acclimating themselves to the trip going across the Atlantic Ocean. Originally, when they lost to the Cowboys, they went a whole week early and hung out in London for the week. And then they stopped that and traveled on yesterday, which is what the Eagles did.
Right.
And they've won 3 straight ever since.
All right, Sal, I want to get into this matchup with you here. You know, we got the Eagles offense, which I think it's been the struggle. They're 22nd in the league in scoring. They scored last week, just 17 again. Jacksonville, they're noted to have a good defense. So when you look at that Eagle offense against the Jacksonville defense, what are you looking at?
Well, they don't have their complement of corners. They're going to have 3 undrafted rookie corners with Jalen Ramsey. So you look at that and you say to yourself, well, those are matchups that the Eagles can exploit. They have the best tight end in football in Zach Ertz, and the connection between Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey is working. And so I think that they can definitely throw the football. They'll struggle to run the football again, because Jacksonville is still pretty good against the run. Their front 7 is still very active, still smart, very good tackling defense. And I think the Eagles will struggle scoring points early in the game, but then they'll start to get rhythm, and they'll make adjustments, and they'll be able to exploit the matchup with that young secondary of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Having 3 undrafted rookies because of the injuries that they have at the cornerback position, with Bowie getting injured in practice on Wednesday, I've been told he's not going to play in the game. I think he's been officially declared out at this point, A.J. Bowie.
Yep.
So I think, they can exploit that for sure.
All right, let's flip it. And you got Bortles is going to go back at quarterback. This Eagles defense, they've been very good except for in the 2 fourth quarters in Tennessee and last week. They were terrible in that fourth quarter. But is this a matchup they should be able to win?
Yeah. They made Mariota look like Montana. I don't think they're going to have they're not going to make Bortles look like Unitas. That's for sure. Bortles is not seeing the field very well. He's been very careless with the football. This is a game where I think the Eagles' defense is going to have a better opportunity to succeed. I'm not going to say they're going to all of a sudden fix all of their problems. But there's nobody on the Jacksonville offense, and I mean literally nobody on the Jacksonville offense, where you look at that offense and you say that's a matchup that the Jaguars beat the Eagles on. So I don't care if it's the wide receivers or the tight ends or, Fournette's still not playing. So they're one-dimensional, and that's a problem. They've only scored 28 points in their last 3 games, Michael.
Yeah.
So I think this is a game. They're only scoring 16 points a game. So this is a game where the Eagles, I think, they'll be in a little bit of a struggle for the first half, and I think they'll pull away in the second half.
By the way, you're right. Bouye did not travel. He is out for the game in London. Sal Pao's offensive player to watch on Sunday. Who has a big game?
Well, for the Eagles, I think Nelson Aguilar is due.
Wow.
And, yes, Nelson Aguilar has struggled. I know inside NovaCare, they're wondering what's going on. Is he back to where he was a couple of years ago? I think this is a game where, again, you have 3 undrafted rookies complimenting Jalen Ramsey. And this is a place for Nelson Aguilar to get open and to get him the football. Carson Wentz likes to throw. This is no shock to anybody because we all see the games. He likes to throw to Ertz and Alshon out of a 2 tight end set. That's where they've been the most successful with Wentz on the field, with Goddard and Ertz on the field and Alshon Jeffrey, and then picking up the rear, Aguilar. But in this game, if Peterson is smart, I think he can exploit the matchup with Aguilar against that defense.
I like that. Aguilar, we've been talking about him all week. All the throws to him are very, very short, even some of them behind the line of scrimmage. Let's get him going. Barnett is out. Who's a defensive player to watch?
For the Eagles or the Jags?
In the game. You pick.
I think the defensive player to watch in this game, without a doubt, is Brandon Graham. They should be able to get some pressure on Bortles. And Graham, he's got to get to the football and remove it from Bortles violently. Many times, more than once. That's what I'm looking for this game.
All right. Sal Pao's 3 keys of the game here to get us ready for Eagles and Jacksonville. What do you got, Sal?
Well, they don't turn the ball over, they win the game. Carson Wentz has got 29 fumbles in his 34 NFL starts. That's a lot.
Yes.
And this year, he has fumbled the ball 9 times. So that's not good.
And that's
Lost
with 2 games missed.
Yes. So, he's getting sacked too much, and he's fumbling the ball too much. His interceptions are down, so that doesn't affect his quarterback rating. But they've got to protect him better. Can't turn the ball over. They don't do that, they win the game quite easily, I think. Number 2, be disciplined on penalties. This team is still way too many penalties, 27th in the league. Not good. -3 in the turnover ratio. Not good. If they do those 2 things and are disciplined, they win the game handily. And then the last thing is get pressure on Bortles. He's susceptible to making mistakes. You get pressure on him, he can have success.
Eagles win. You win at Dunkin' Donuts. Sal, you like the Eagles to win.
I do. I like the Eagles to win, and you're absolutely right, Mike. It's desperation time. It's survival Sunday at Wembley for both of these teams. But for the Eagles, the Super Bowl champs, more so. Because everybody looks at Jacksonville and says, not going to happen this year.
You're right.
Eagles still very much alive in the NFC East. But you go 3-5, that means you got to go 7-1 in the final 8 games.
Fair.
That's nearly impossible to do. And
He's-
then you can just turn off the talk completely about them going out and getting anybody else. But if I were to, if they win the game, I'd pick up the phone and I would call the Broncos and try to get Demaryius Thomas here right away. And then I would call the Bills back and say, listen, Shady's not going to be there. You know that in 2019.
Now this is juicy.
What do we have to do to get Shady in an Eagles uniform? Just tell us what we got to do. But they got to win the game. At 3-5, you're not a buyer. You're not a seller either, but you're not a buyer for sure. Not for expensive items. I think the Eagles win the game, Mike. I'm going to go 24-16.
24-16 over the pond. He's ESPN national correspondent Sal Paolantonio. His book is Philly Special, the inside story of how the Philadelphia Eagles won their first Super Bowl championship. You hear those desolate tones? I know you're going audio with this thing.
And Mike, my plan is to have Mike Gill read a chapter.
I'm in. Can I pick the chapter, or do you pick it?
We got to be. Oh, yeah, we can talk about it. Well, you want to be part of history, right?
I'm in, man. I got the book right in my hand, right here as we speak. I keep it by my side when we do this conversation each week.
That's cool because the book's in the third printing, and it's true. One of the audiobook companies has put a contract in front of the publisher, and we're ready to sign. And I told them, this is what I want to do. I want to get all my friends, all my rowdy friends in the broadcasting business to read a chapter.
That's awesome. And this is rare, too. You don't do that with a sports book a lot.
Only autobiographies where, the person who wrote it, like a John Calipari, for instance, somebody like that, reads his book. But, yes, not for championship books and very rare for sports books. So that tells you how much people have embraced this book all over the country. Hey, we're still the #1 football book in the Dallas Metroplex area. Can you believe that?
That's cool. Sal Pal, ESPN, Instagram for his instant analysis, the matchup show. Make sure you are dialed in. Eagles in London, NFL week number 8. Get the book. The holiday season is coming. It's called Sal Pal's Philly Special, the inside story of how the Eagles won their first Super Bowl championship. They got to win this game if they want to think about you writing a sequel.
Yes, and by the way, for the matchup show, we lead the show with a piece about the Eagles' struggling offense with Greg Cosell breaking it down. So set the DVR.
Got it.
ESPN 2 on Saturday, ESPN on Sunday on the mothership. Greg Cosell breaks down the London game, Eagles offense. You don't want to miss it. It's pretty good. Greg does such a great job on the matchup show.
He does. It's a great show, and I know you got to jump on the plane. You're heading over to see the L.A. Rams and the Packers. Eagle fans, fuel up on Dunkin' Donuts on game day. Members get a medium hot or iced coffee for $1 the day of every Eagles game, and that's good. The Eagles game's at 9:30 in the morning, right when we need our Dunkin' Donuts. Sal, safe travels. We'll talk next week, man.
Do the best.